Welcome to today's Lunch and Learn session on accounts payable processing within our new Proven Accounting Web. My name is Amanda Owen. I am a trainer on the accounting team here at Can-Am Systems. Today's session will run approximately 20 minutes, followed by a Q&A period at the end. As you know, this meeting is being held in a Zoom webinar format that is being recorded. These recordings, along with any questions, will be available via our help library and our company's YouTube channel. You have been muted to avoid any background noise, and your video is turned off to avoid any distractions. You are strongly encouraged to enter your questions throughout the session directly into the Q&A box, and we will address them all at the end of today's session. Today we will walk you through the creation of a new vendor record, creating a new voucher, running various accounts payable reports, and how to issue payments. By the end of this session, all participants will have a solid understanding of processing accounts payable tasks within the Proven Accounting Web. A new vendor record can be created in two ways in our web accounting platform. We have our new Add Item button at the top right corner. By clicking the plus icon, here we can see 6 quick add options. At the bottom, we have Vendor. By clicking Vendor, I will be taken to the Add New Vendor screen. Or we can navigate to the left-hand panel, click Vendors, and click New Record at the top. To begin entering our new vendor details, we will first start by entering the vendor name. Then we will select our vendor type by clicking the magnifying glass. My vendor is a supplier, so I will click the Select option next to Supplier. If your vendor type is not available in the list, it can be added by clicking Add New Record. We will give our new vendor type a name, such as Equipment Rental, and choose a cost type. Here you should choose the best cost type based on the services the vendor type would be providing. In my example, my vendor type is an equipment rental, so I would choose cost type of equipment rental. Click Save and Close. Select my supplier because that is my original vendor type. Now we'll enter the vendor's address. This is typically where vendor payments would be mailed to. On this screen, we can enter our main point of contact. We can add any notes pertaining to this specific vendor. To add a main point of contact method, we'll click Add New Contact button. Choose the contact method, such as phone number or email. Enter our email address. Click Update. And our vendor record has been created. Now we can go to the Detail tab. On the Detail tab, we can add any additional information, such as a credit limit, a default expense account, the vendor-specific terms. We can mark if they're paid by electronic payment. And then in the Licenses and Certificates section, we can mark them as a T5018 vendor, or for our US clients, we can mark them as a T99 vendor, and additionally put their tax identification number here as well. We can add new licenses such as a W-9, the expiry, a certificate of insurance, or any other information that might have an expiry here. The next tab I want to show you is our History tab. Within the History tab, We'll have all vendor history, such as the vendor bills and payments applied. The Contacts tab, here is where we could add additional contacts for our vendor if we had multiple contacts that we might contact there. And finally, our Documents tab. Here's where we can store any vendor documents such as that W-9, that certificate of insurance, or any other vendor management documents we might need. Now that we have our vendor set up, we can enter in an invoice. The first option I want to show you today is our work order conversion method. From our Proven Jobs platform, I have my job open to my Work Orders tab. Here I have my open work order 0050, and this work order has been assigned to L&L Supply. I will place a check in the box to select my work order, and then I will go to Convert and choose to convert to voucher. I'll be prompted with, "Are you sure you want to generate a voucher for this work order?" I will click Yes. Next, I'll be prompted to enter a date. This date is typically found on your vendor's invoice. Once I've entered my date, I will click Save. And now in our work order screen, we can see our newly created voucher number. We will need to navigate back to our Proven Accounting platform and go to Purchases and Vouchers. And here I can see my vouchers created for L&L Supply and entered on 3/1. I will click Details to open the voucher. From here, we'll enter any remaining details such as the invoice number. And we can review that the line items came over for flooring materials as assigned to my job as a sub-trade. Once everything has been verified, go to Actions and click Post. The next option for creating a voucher is by entering a voucher in the Proven Accounting system. To create a voucher from our Proven Accounting platform, again, we can use our new Add Item button at the top and choose Voucher. Or we can go over to Vouchers and click New Record. We'll begin by selecting our vendor. We can type in our vendor name, or we can click the magnifying glass and search from a list. We can use any of these columns to narrow down our options, or we can scroll through and find and click Select. We can change our vendor invoice date from here. We'll select a location. We'll enter our invoice number. And click Save. Once we click Save, we now have an option to place our voucher on hold if we're pending any approvals. If we're good to proceed, we'll then add a line. We'll enter a description. If our voucher is job cost related, then we'll go to the job number, click the job hyperlink, and search for our job. Again, we can use the columns for the job number, the customer ID, or the job name. It is a fuzzy search logic, so you can enter partial names and then click Select. Choose your category and your selector and click Select. I'll change my job category to Materials, so it will be appropriate cost bucket. And then I'll enter the total amount of my voucher. Once all the information has been entered, I can go up to Actions and click Post. Now that we've entered some payables, let's review some accounts payable reports. To go to our report menu, we'll go to the left-hand panel, click Reports, and here you can see our various reports. For our purchases and payables, we have 6 various reports. To review payables for payment, I like to use the Payables Aging Summary. To open this report, I'll click the name, and here we have the information. At the top right, we can choose our date, and we can choose a date type, and choose our date. I like to run this report as of today to get the most accurate and up-to-date information. Another reason I like this report is it groups my voucher invoices by vendors. And so I can see here my AI Materials has 6 outstanding invoices. I can see the due date of each invoice, the invoice number, our associated voucher number, the date it was entered, and then the days outstanding, and then a total amount due for my vendor. Additionally, I can scroll down and I have a total outstanding of my AP payables here. I can export this by going up to Tools, go to Export, and I have 4 export options. I like to use Excel. I can change the name of the title of the file and enter the date and click Export. Another report I like to use is our Aged Payable Summary. This report shows vendors in alphabetical order and in total due to each vendor. The voucher total column is a historical voucher total, and paid column is what has been paid to date to this specific vendor. An amount due is the amount that's outstanding currently. Now that we know what vouchers are due for payment and have decided who to pay, we can now complete a check run. To pay vendors, we'll go to the left-hand panel and go to Payables. From the Payables menu, we have our date. This will be the date that is printed on our checks. And then our next check. Here we'll click the icon 123 to queue up our next check number in our stock. And now I can begin selecting the vendors I'd like to pay. Once I have them all selected, I'll go up to Actions and click Print Report. This report will contain the details of the payables that are about to be paid. This report will need to be printed prior to posting vouchers as payments. And now we can post our vouchers. We've been alerted that we've posted 3 transactions, and if we'd like to print checks, I'd like to click Yes. Having already gone through our default setup during implementation, our check stock details should be set to company defaults. In my example, my check stock is on the top. I want to print the memo field. I want to print the vendor's name and the address. And I want to print the company name and address. And additionally, because my check stock does not have the check number printed already on it, I will choose to have my check number printed. I'll click Print, and then Done. Now that we've printed some checks, we need to talk about what to do when a vendor misplaces a check and it needs to be reissued. So I'll show you how to return a payable that a vendor never cashed or if the check was lost. This entry will place the funds back into the bank register and allow the voucher to be paid again. We'll begin by going to Payables and Posted Payables. We will click Details next to the payable we need to return. We'll go up to Actions and click Returned Payment. It says that we're about to issue a return payment. We will choose Yes. And now the payment has been returned. We will enter the original check number, and in the memo section or the reference, we will enter in lost check. Now we'll go up to Actions and click Post. Now we can navigate back to our Payables menu, and here we can see that the voucher is ready to be paid once more. Another common item we've come across is how to post a payment with the same check number. To complete this task, again, we'll be in our Payables menu. We'll enter our date. We could enter a reference, such as EFT for an electronic funds transfer. And then in our check field, we'll check the box to use the same check number. We'll enter our check number, such as 999, and then select our payables for payment. Go to Actions, Print Report, Actions, and Post. We'll say no, we would not like to print our checks. And now our payables have been posted with the same check number. Next, I'd like to show you how to enter in a credit card charge. To enter a credit card charge, we'll go to Banking, Credit Card Account, Credit Card Charges, and we'll click New Record. We'll enter in our payee by clicking the Select. In my example, I'm going to be paying some bank fees, so I'm going to choose my bank. In the memo, I'm going to enter in banking fees. If there's any reference number, that can be entered here. Additionally, the date of the charge can be entered in from this by clicking the calendar menu and choosing the date of the transaction. And then we'll enter in an amount. We'll click Add a Line to add our line item details. And first, I'll start by choosing my expense account. So I'm going to click the hyperlink to open my chart of accounts. And here I'm presented with options to filter. I like to filter with a description. I'll enter in a partial name to limit the items, and then click Select next to bank fees. Next, I'll select a location. The description is fine as bank fees. It is not job cost related, as I will not have to choose a job number or a job category. The amount has come down. Everything looks good. I'll go to Actions and click Post. Now I'll show you how to enter a make withdrawal. To enter a make withdrawal, we'll go to Banking, Bank Account, and Make Withdrawal. Here I'll click New Record, and I'll enter my Pay To. I'll enter in the information. I'll put the date of the withdrawal. If there's a reference number, the amount, and a memo. Again, to add the line item detail, I'll click the blue Add Line icon. I'll click the blue hyperlink for the account number, and in the description, I'll type in a partial name to limit my options and click Select next to the account I'd like to use. The amount has come down. Everything looks good. Actions and Post. Some common questions. Purchase orders will be available feature and will be showcased at our user conference in Dallas this year, April 10th through 12th. Another common question we get is converting the PO to a credit card charge. This process does not change from the current process that is currently in place with our desktop accounting platform. Allow selecting vendors past their expiry dates. If enabled, then regardless of a vendor's expiry dates, they can still be selected. However, if unenabled, an alert will be displayed that the vendor cannot be selected. Thank you all for joining me today. This does conclude the end of our Lunch and Learn session. Now we will move on to our Q&A portion of today's webinar. If you have any questions, please enter them into the Q&A box below.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I am April Reeves. Amanda has asked me to facilitate this Q&A. Very first question we have so far is there a way to default fields upon selecting the vendor? Yes, currently some of the fields that are available for default are tax rate, some not tax rates. What do you call those? Terms like net 30, net 15. Your location will default. And then once you are on the platform, if you have any suggestions for additional defaults, we are happy to review those. Next question is the AP process already available, and will there be a lunch and learn session for this? Currently, there's not plans to do a lunch and learn session, as we are going to showcase this in detail at our user conference. Maybe afterwards we'll have a lunch and learn session. AP approval process is already available for those who are using proven web accounting and a QuickBooks sync. AP approval process is not available for people who are currently using the desktop. Jenny, your other question was, can we send a voucher for approval before posting? You can, using the AP approval process that is available in Proven Jobs. Next question is there a way that when you convert a work order into a voucher that you will automatically be redirected to the created unposted voucher? Yes. I'm not sure if Amanda showed that in her demonstration, but there is a pop-up box that says, do you want to view this voucher? You just click yes, and it shows in a list, and you can then review the voucher and then post it accordingly. Sarah, you asked if you can edit the layout of checks and forms, or do you still need support to do that? Good news, you can do that yourself now in web accounting. You will be able to edit the layout of your check and your invoices that you print. And there will be training on that, since I think you guys are coming on pretty soon. EFT payments available here. I currently have a ticket in for us to have the ability to select a checkbox that states that it is an EFT payment, which will then remove the requirement of entering a check number. We do not have the ability to actually send funds via EFT, but I am trying to get a checkbox so we can record it as an EFT. Jenny, your question is, if paying multiple invoices for the same vendor, will the print function consolidate into a single check? Yes, it will. Our current desktop application works like that as well. You do not need to be printed. Those do not need to be printed in a separate batch. Sarah said, is there any plans to convert the PO to a CC charge? The way that that works is that your purchase order will then be converted to a voucher, which can be paid for with a credit card. However, I do like the option or the idea of converting a purchase order directly to a credit card charge. So I'm going to make note of that and put that in for future development. Stacy, you were saying when selecting vouchers to pay, is there an option to select, oh, my screen moved, all due dates rather than individually selecting? Yes, you can actually, currently on the desktop, if you're using the desktop, you can actually select an up to date on the desktop. We do not have that option currently in web accounting. However, you can put in a date range for those, only those items with those due dates within a date range. There's actually a filter section. You can put in a date range, and if your date starts with 3/15 and ends with 3/15, then you should only see those due on 3/15. Let's see, Christiane, for credit card charge, instead of always using select for payee, can we just enter the payee? Yes, I have a ticket open for us that to be a quick entry field, so we can just type and it will drop down. It's kind of like some of our voucher and invoice screens. I have a ticket for that as well. Christina Decker, will there be an integration with Search Express? No, there will not be. We actually have our proprietary AP approval process now that is available in Proven Jobs. So no integration with Search Express. We have created our AP approval process in Proven Jobs. Internal PO approval system, that's the same thing. And our AP approval process does include a copy of the invoice. So you will be able to use it. It functions similarly. Liz, is the Search Express not needed anymore? Yes, ma'am, that is correct. We actually have our own proprietary AP approval process built within Proven Jobs now. And again, just to remind you, that is only for those who are doing a QuickBooks sync or associated with the web accounting. Is there a report available for certificates expiring in the vendor detail? Proven Jobs actually can provide you with that report. I believe there is a certificate expiry report in Proven Jobs. If a vendor requires a deposit, can you split the work order? Work orders can only be converted once, but you can make 2 work orders, one for the first portion of the deposit, one for the second portion of the deposit, or in the future, you can convert the work order to a purchase order, and then you can partial pay the PO. What about invoice approvals? We are posting them straight away as we enter them. Liz, when you say invoice approvals, do you mean the invoice you get from the subcontractor? I'll just wait for you to type your answer real quick. While we're waiting for Liz to respond, the next one says, can we do a mass update of certificate expiry dates? At this time, you cannot, as those details are held within each individual vendor record. And then Liz, you said, where can we see the invoices and attachment? Again, do you mean invoices from a subcontractor or invoices you send to a customer? Invoices are attached in Proven Jobs to a specific job when it goes through the AP approval process. So you will be able to see that invoice from the sub on the job in Proven Jobs. And then your question again about what about invoice approvals? So again, if you're talking about invoices from subcontractors, those are going to be processed through AP approval if you decide to use it. I don't think I missed any questions. I'll wait just another moment to double check and see. Good questions from everyone. Invoices from vendor, contractors, and everyone. Okay, thanks, Liz. So those will actually be part of the AP approval process. You will upload a copy of the invoice. You will then select the work order associated to a specific job, and then it will go through the process. That invoice will be available to view on the job. All right. Any more questions? Will the subcontractor invoice automatically be attached or saved in Proven Jobs? So right now, documents will not come into Proven Accounting into the web. It will only be attached in Proven Jobs. This is just phase 1 of our AP approval process. We do have phase 2 coming out later in the year that will include an AP approval process that's specifically for accounting, as you do not see overhead costs in Proven Jobs. You will only see costs associated to a job. But eventually we will have a document sync or document upload in Proven Accounting, but at right now we do not. It's only housed in Proven Jobs. Yes, Liz, you can have multiple approvers and multiple levels of each approver. And Liz, if you're coming to conference, Christy and I are actually going to do a really good demonstration on how that works and a flow through all the way from Proven Jobs into Proven Accounting. All right, great questions, everyone. Any more questions? All right, good job, Amanda. Thank you, everyone, for joining.